Hey everyone, TimaeuSS. Welcome to another NIKKE video. So, this is the second episode of the God Comps, okay, where I take teams from CN, JP, Korea, NA, or Global, and break it down to you and explain to you why the team is so powerful. And of course, offer alternatives for you to run if you don't have all of the units, and hopefully propel your gameplay forward. Alright, so let's talk about the one true beast herself, Scarlet. So Scarlet, as we've seen from various tier lists and the global community, she is one of the best units. And I'll go into detail why, because everyone asks how good is Scarlet, but no one asks why she is so good. So let's take a look at her kit. Alright, so her kit, she has a self-attack stacking buff that lasts for 5 seconds and stacks up to 5 times, and a crit damage buff when HP falls below 60%, and also a 30% chance to cast a 100% of the attack damage, attack as damage when she is attacked. Okay, and lastly, she has burst 3, which is a 14 or 15% crit rate buff at level 4 and deals AoE damage across the entire map. Okay. So what makes her so damn good? Well, first of all, the attack buff. This is actually one of the most important things that people tend to overlook. Because she is an AR unit, she's able to get 2 stacks of this up with relative ease, okay? Which means at level 4, she gets a 20% plus a 20%. Okay, and this, I'll have to draw you to the attention of the damage formula in this game. So it was posted on the CN servers that in this game, attack buffs are way more important than stats such as crit damage or crit rate, because of how the damage formula works. I'm not sure if it's intended, it will be changed, but attack always outscales crit. And that's why they rated Yuha so high, because that 90% attack buff is insane, okay, in comparison to something like the crit. So any units with attack buff is an absolute beast. And so if we look at Scarlet, she's obviously got that self-attack buff, and she attacks really fast because she's an AR, and her only downside is the reload time, which is 2.3. Much longer than some of the units, but that can be circumvented by a lot of the accessories to Scarlet. So looking back at what the current optimal team is for semi-manual in CN, they're running Litter and Dola, and again, we're seeing some recurring themes here, okay? Litter is the best burst 1, Dola is the best burst 2 in their eyes. And the reason being, they're both 20-second burst windows that reduces the burst timer cooldown, okay? Which means you're going to burst faster, you're in full burst a lot more frequently compared to other team comps, which means that under full burst you trigger more damage and get more supporting skills activated, and that's why they're there. And then you run Heron for the AoE damage output in conjunction with Scarlet. She is the best AoE hands down, and if you use the full charge bug, Heron's actually comparable damage with Scarlet too. And of course we have Yuha for the insane attack buff that I've talked about. So this is the basic team setup, okay? And I'll break down the core to you guys without using the CN guide, because they talked about the 3 core, which is Dola, Litter, and Scarlet, but I'm gonna start the team building session with just the Scarlet core. And if you look at just the Scarlet core, of course, she is burst 3, so we need to think about what we can put in burst 1. Your choices are either Litter or Volume, okay? Those are your best choices, with Litter being the best. You can also put Pepper here for sustainability, but personally I don't. So Litter, for sure, absolutely, if you have her, slot 1. If not, for burst 1 choices, Volume or Pepper. For burst 2, this is where a lot of the differences come from. So you have your traditional, okay, you have your traditional burst 2s, okay, which means that they are your 20 seconds 20-second burst windows to allow you to go into burst 1, burst 2, and burst 3 with relative ease. And those are Dola. Of course, we know Dola is the best supporting burst 2, and Uni. And the only reason why Uni is able to claim the burst 2 spot with Scarlet is because of this bug. If you run Uni, she has a ammo capacity buff, which after expiring, it will give Scarlet a full recharge, and we'll show that in the shooting range. Okay, it fully reloads Scarlet. So of course you can see how that is going to be super important. And there is actually another unique choice here. So if you forgo the traditional 20-second window burst too, you can actually run something like Polly. Polly offers an attack buff, which is quite important, and she offers survivability to the team as well. So after 5 normal attacks, she gives attack, she shares damage, and also her burst 2 gives 22% attack for 10 seconds, which is massive, because that means for pretty much the entire full burst window, you'll be gaining that. So Polly is not a bad choice. However, if you run Polly, because it's not a traditional 20-second burst, it's going to impede your burst climbing, so you have to run another burst 2. Okay, so you're trading a burst 3 potentially for a Polly that offers the 22% attack, which at this point, why don't you just run the Yuha, right? Technically, that is a valid reason, but Yuha, you cannot control the burst, so because it's a skill for the attack buff, so you cannot control it. So personally, I used Polly for a while, but I swapped her out. So you have, again, Uni or Dola. We'll do Uni, for example. And then this sets up your 1, 2, 3 with Scarlet. So because of how things rotate, Scarlet's cooldown on the S3 is quite long, right? So you will be able to use S3 on different units. So we saw in the image, they ran Heron for the AoE into Yuha for the attack buff. However, with the addition of Helm, you can actually also run Helm for sustainability as the second burst 3. Okay, if you run Helm as the second burst 3, you can provide that burst heal when it's Helm's turn, and then run Heron as the last burst for still that really good AoE, but this is more survivability. Alternatively, you can do this, more AoE damage, but less Helm support, so you can mix and match. There's also another setup that is possible, which for burst 2, you run Admi. Okay, you run Admi. Admi, let me show you guys what Admi does. Admi, in junction with another fantastic unit, Privity, is going to be able to support the Scarlet team very well. So let me pull up Admi, and you guys can see on screen. So Admi is a 20-second burst 2, okay? Fantastic. She also offers 50% reload speed, in junction with Privity, who also offers another 50% reload speed and maximum ammo capacity down in attack buff. So honestly, if you have Admi, run it with Privity and Scarlet together. You'll see how fast Scarlet is able to reload, and it actually circumvents the issue that Scarlet have, which is the long reload time. All right, so let's go into the Union and let's go take a look at the shooting range. Okay, this is not the team setup, sorry. And I want to show you how important it is to really pay attention to Uni's buffs, because this allows Scarlet for a free reload, and that's why I think Uni is a viable choice versus always slotting Dola as your team burst 2 in this window. So here we go. We will eliminate this and this into Helm and Heron for the lifesteal. And again, guys, give me some feedback on whether or not these types of information is useful. I'm really trying to help you guys build a team around a specific character and show you some of the god comps that are more or less more meta than the others, but anything can work. Anything can work. Okay, so first of all, look at Scarlet's ammo. She is at 21 right now, okay? She is going to gain an instant refill after this one. So she has 21, watch. And she is going to go down to 20, see? So the timing is a bit off in this regard, so because she went to 25 and then reloaded down, but in normal circumstances, if you're running a proper team and the timing matches up, what will happen is that she'll go to 25, and when the buff wears off, instead of maintaining the same amount of ammo when she was 25, it would just get an instant refill. She'll just get it. So she's at 25 now. We'll wait for that to wear off. She'll get an instant refill. Okay. Sometimes you need to work around the teams to check out the timing, but Uni is very good in that regard. But again, if you don't have Uni, you can use Dola. Honestly, they probably do the same thing in terms of damage output in the long run, so don't worry about that. So this is, I would say, the setup for Scarlet, and this is the god comp for Scarlet. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll bring more information like this later on. And it's TimaeuSS, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye now.